Grand Rising, Grand Rising. I hope you guys had a fabulous weekend. Let's get into some real life, real news, real things that matters to how you will continue or not to live your life in the America that MAGA and 4547 is tearing apart. So, MAGA, what does MAGA actually stand for? Does it make MAGA, does that stand for Make America God Awful Again? Because that's what's going on with this administration. MAGA, Make America God Awful. So we're gonna understand that that is what MAGA stands for. The new white meat. MAGA, the new white meat. It's not poor. It's poverty and despair. Oh my God. So, but not if you're in the billionaire class, or not if you're 45, 47 in his family who is robbing the treasury by the billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars at a time. Not just one time, several times that 45, 47 has declared that he's taking $10 billion out of the U.S. Treasury. You know that thing that's called your tax dollars. You know those things that can never be spent to do anything for the populace of the American people who amass those tax dollars in the Treasury. You know those things that they can never look at when they're telling you to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Those things, tens of millions of them, have been earmarked to go to 45, 47 and be under his personal control. The first $10 billion is the $10 billion that 45, 47 says that has basically been settled. His lawsuit has been settled as far as his tax returns being exposed. Funny thing is, when his tax returns were exposed, I think over either 400 or 400,000 other people's tax returns were exposed as well at that same time. But he is the only one who gets to get damages of $10 billion from your treasury. So there's that. The other $10 billion that 45, 47 says he's taking out of the treasury, and he will be in control of the money, is for that what is it called? Uh, that board of peace bullshit that they want to make you believe is a real thing, when all it is contractors going into Palestine and making it some tech utopia for the billionaires. The border peace. He is going to take $10 billion of U.S. Treasury out of the U.S. Treasury, and he will be in control of the border peace and that money. What do you think is going to happen to that money? And the only people who are, I think, every country has an opportunity to join the border peace if they pay. I think they only have to pay $1 billion. So if the other countries only have to pay $1 billion, why is it then that 45, 47, who uh, is over the whole border, he's decided to take $10 billion of the U.S. Treasury? No, does any of this make you think? I think most of you don't even know this. So, you can't make people think about things when they have no capacity to think about things that affect them and how they live their lives. I think there's no thinking. I think people minds are so convoluted with bullshit. Uh, because they want to be entertained. I come on here for entertainment. I want to be entertained. I just want to laugh. That's funny. Everything's funny until it's not. Everything's funny until it's not. So, let me get into a few things that I want to share with you today. Let me see. What am I going to be talking about? Oh, don't you find it funny that your Supreme Court is now being maligned by 45, 47 because your Supreme Court said what we already knew, that those tariffs that were enacted for every country under some emergency. It is an emergency because fentanyl's coming to our country. It's an emergency because we have a trade deficit. It's an emergency. Emergency. We're gonna tax everybody day by day, and if a country says something, we're gonna put another 10 or 20% to their tariffs. All of that emergency was illegal. You were told it was illegal, but your elected officials didn't put any urgency on the illegality of what was being done. So you would have thought it was normal. I mean, because these senators and Congress people sitting in their little cushy office, putting their lunches and breakfasts and drinks on the government tab, didn't act like it was illegal. No, so do you wonder why the American public didn't act as if what was being done was illegal? Because the American public has been dumbing down. The American public has been dumbing down, and MAGA has also been dumbing down to the point where he lets you know you are dummies. He likes the uneducated voter. This is why. So all of that money that he and his administration has told you they have taken in, and they're putting on a tariff shelf, and we taking in trillions, 18 trillion, 3 trillion, 9 trillion, 21 trillion. All of those trillions of dollars were just dollars added to the prices of products that you buy in the United States of America. Do some of you still think that the other countries pay the tariffs? Do you guys still think that the other countries pay the tariffs? Did you guys forget how when Amazon was about to uh, put a column in your checkout to let you know how much of the cost of the goods that you were buying from Amazon was because of tariffs, and 45, 47 came out and told Jeff Bezos, why are you doing that? Why would you put that on your to alert the people of how much more their products have been increased in price because of tariffs? And Jeff Bezos decided not to do it. I wash your back, you wash mine. So y'all so stupid to not understand that Jeff Bezos didn't do anything to buck up against the tariffs, to buck up against having their customers, their large, huge customer base, have to pay on illegal tariffs. Do you think Jeff Bezos, billionaire ass, took the brunt of the tariff costs before he let them fall onto you? Or he immediately told you how much these tariffs were going to cost you? He didn't take the brunt of any of the tariff costs. So now it is estimated that about 30% of the tariffs that have been collected since the what was it? Well, not Independence Day. What did he call it? Some what did he call tariff day, April 1st? Some some name he gave it. Freedom Day or whatever day that he gave April 1st, when these tariffs were enacted, and uh, and then held off for another 30 days and enacted again and held off, and you know, as he was being Taco Trump, Trump always chicken out, that tariff day. So, on that tariff day, uh, do you think that Amazon did anything to save you from getting charged these tariff costs? Amazon didn't do a goddamn thing. But everybody's all in on Amazon. Amazon is your friend. So come to find out that 30% of the tariffs that were collected were paid for by corporations. So some corporations did try to limit the effect that the tariffs would immediately have on their customers. But Amazon, they wanted to show you, hey, look, day one, this is how much you're paying for your product. This is taxes and this is tariffs. And these are the tariff taxes. Your grand total, sir, ma'am, is X amount of dollars. This is why. So, so that means 70% of the taxes were paid out of your pocket. They were paid. You know that a big tariff shelf that 45, 47 was bragging about? That was paid out of your pocket. Now, since the Supreme Court said that it was illegal, there have been two states, Illinois and California. Their governors have uh, wrote strongly worded letters to the Trump administration saying that they expect about $17,000, $1,700 per person in their state to refund the consumer for the extra money that they had to pay for merchandises due to this illegal tax on the American people. Now, there was a corporation that bought this case to the Supreme Court because they said that these tariff taxes were illegal. And so they won their case. They took it, of course, they had to take it all the way up to the Supreme Court because this administration insisted on getting its way. And when it didn't get its way in the lower courts, it kept fighting to continue to attack you the people. Some of you people thought that, oh, the other court country is paying the tariffs. Oh, the manufacturer pays the tariff. Some of you guys were so dumb to know that, no, stupid, you're paying the tariff in increased prices for the things that you buy. Okay, so we're clear on that. We're clear on, it was a dummy mission, but it cost you a lot of money. So since the Supreme Court has said that it was illegal, but Brett Kavanaugh, y'all know old Brett Kavanaugh of the Supreme Court. You know old Brett Kavanaugh, where kind of like Clarence Thomas, who had to have an accuser be grilled, an accuser of him doing inappropriate things to her body. Brett Kavanaugh, who had to be have a woman grilled about the uh, allegations that she claimed that happened to her while she was impaired, alcoholically impaired state, where she was barely had any consciousness, is what I could get from it. Brett Kavanaugh gave 45, 47 a way out. Well, you held the tariffs under this clause from 1971. It was an emergency clause. Well, surely you could have done the same thing if you use this clause, that clause, or the other clause. So yeah, and it would have been perfectly legal. So 45, 47, on the same day that he got the decision, he bemoaned the Supreme Court justices except for Kavanaugh, Alito, and of course Thomas. He gave a scathing report. He said the other Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and I forget who else voted. against the tariffs. He said that they should be ashamed and their families should be ashamed and all types of shit. And he's very disappointed in Amy Coney Barrett, and um, the other justice that he put into their seats himself. So he was very pissed off until someone told him about old touchy Brett Kavanaugh, gave him an idea how he can still enact the tariff. So what did he do? He enacted the tariff, 10% tariff on all everybody in all nations, a 10% across the board, and then much like he always does when someone says something to hurt his feelings, when he's in his emotions. And they say women are too emotional to be president. When he's emotional, he increases tariffs, decrease tariffs. If you tickle his spinkster the right way, you may get a decrease in your tariffs. But he got a little perturbed, and then that same night, he then increased these worldwide tariffs to 15%. They went from 10 to 15. Now, originally, the maximum that they could be was 15%. But he only increased them 10% when he started out. By the end of the night, they were up to 15% because all why is that important? That is important because of, all of those agreements, trade deals, and all of these things that he were going to get. 90 deals in 90 days, where he actually had two deals or something. The EU said that they are not going to honor any trade agreements with the United States. But your your vice president came out and told you last week that you are going to see all of the things that is going to happen to America by the start of next year. So you have about a year to wait, because there's so much manufacturing being done, being built in the United States because of these tariffs. Now, I'm curious if one person can tell me where all of this manufacturing is being built in the United States. I'll wait. I will wait, because we do know that these corporations aren't building shit. They're just building a place to store their money until the economy settles down. Nobody's investing in this economy to build a goddamn thing. If you know of something, let me know. Where are they building all of this infrastructure for manufacturing in the United States that JD Vance told you about? Anybody? Oh, okay. Now let me share. Let me share. Good morning, real life with the only McNeil. Let's examine this statement. Trump has the dollar in ruin. You're silly as hell. Your or your? Is it your or your? YOU apostrophe RE. So you're dumb as hell. Not your. You're dumb as hell. But thank you for being here. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. He doesn't like to be told no. That's why he got all the yes men on his cabinet. He uh this go around. Yeah, that's why he has all the yes men in his cabinet this go around. So let's get into the things now. Understand that 45, 47. Did you guys get your Doge checks yet? Remember, they saved so much money by having Elon Musk go in and desecrate so many government agencies and uh, take so many government jobs that you guys are possibly getting a $5,000 Doge check. Did you get your checks yet? Well, there was a lot of money taken in from the tariffs that 45, 47 said that you guys would probably get a some dividends from the tariffs that you paid. The 45, 47 said they were making so much money from other countries because of the tariffs that the American people would probably get dividends when they filed their taxes. So y'all better go and hurry up and file your taxes if you haven't already filed your taxes. If you don't believe that 45, 47 said that you will be possibly getting dividends because of his tariffs, let me share with you what 45, 47 said about you getting dividends from all of the money that you paid in tariffs. Where Here we are. Because we really need to hear it from his own mouth. I will find it. Hmm. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. Oh God. Oh God. Please tell me I have it. Oh God. I'll find it. I will find it. So let's get into some of the rulings while I find it. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. Let me share this with you. I think I want it this way. Here we go. No, I don't want it that way. I want it that way. No, that's the way I want it. Okay, here we go.
Saturday morning, Donald Trump is doubling down, tripling down on his tariffs. He has imposed a 10% global tariff across the board on global countries, except for some products in Canada and Mexico. While at the same time, dozens of companies are lining up already, suing, moving forward, trying to get revenue back that they spent from his initial tariffs. Because remember, when Donald Trump instituted his tariffs, many companies, including small businesses, paid a lot of tariffs, a lot of penalties to import goods into the United States of America. And now they're lining up and saying, Mr. President, we want our refund back. All while we have new Epstein files that show, well, the Department of Justice gave Ghislaine Maxwell's team something that she could blackmail the president of the United States with. An important update right now. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. The more you like, the more people see this. And subscribe to my Substack. Click the link below to support my work. We're getting a snowstorm here in Washington, D.C., so hopefully I'll have Wi-Fi. There are some exceptions for Canada and Mexico, some goods coming from Canada and Mexico, but this 10% global tariff is set to last several months, and it's under a new authority that essentially the court did not foreclose. So this new authority is Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. It allows the president to institute a temporary 10% global tariff. Ultimately, this tariff will expire in about 150 days. And ultimately, the United States Congress will have to extend the tariff, codify the tariff, if they want to. Now, there's no sign that Congress is willing to do this, but this 10% tariff is a temporary tariff. Now, at the same time, he did something that not many people are talking about. He reinstituted or rather killed, the de minimis exemption rule. De minimis exemption essentially exempted levies on products that are less than $800. It had let U.S. importers bring in goods valued at under $800 without the sender having to pay taxes or completing detailed customs paperwork. So products coming in from Shein, from Temu, a lot of products coming in from China would be subject to this de minimis exemption because you're getting a lot of cheap stuff from China, under $800 a good, and so you wouldn't have to pay a tax. Well, overnight, the president of the United States said, not so fast. We're going to make you pay a tax on that. So the de minimis exemption has been closed once again. If you're shopping on places like Temu, Shein, eBay, Amazon, be prepared to pay more for goods like that. Now, let's look at the companies that are lining up to sue the administration. There are dozens of lawsuits in the courts. It's going to cost a lot of money and spend a lot of time in the International Court of Trade trying to get all these companies their refunds. Let's go through them. BYD filed on February 9th, a Chinese automaker challenging the bid to use sweeping authority to impose tariffs, requesting a refund for all levies it paid since last April. Prada, the luxury company, sued the U.S. government and requested the U.S. Court of International Trade to order a refund under the IEEPA duties. Staples, the office supply company. Tom Ford Distribution. We got J. Crew Group, Dole Fresh Fruit Company, GoPro, Barnes & Noble's Publishing, Borg Warner. I think I'm butchering that name, but there you go. You got Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, Costco, EssilorLuxottica. Fascinating name. Alcoa, Toyota subsidiaries. You got Bumblebee, Revlon, Kawasaki Motors, Yokohama Tire, Yamazaki Mazak. Anyways, they're all suing. They want their money back. They've been paying these tariffs under IEEPA. They've been paying all this money, and now it's been overturned. And in a lot of ways, 10% tariffs, it's different, right? I mean, it's a different tariff. So theoretically, all these companies will get all the money back that they spent since last April, since his Liberation Day tariffs. And then they're going to have to pay more under this new global 10% tariff. But it's going to cause a complete mess because the government is now acting like a bank, right? Government's refunding folks while also collecting money. And it's just going to be a bit of a mess. It's going to take a long time for these companies to get any sense of justice. Well, Donald Trump this morning says that his new hero is U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and of course, Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. He didn't have those kind words for his own justices, Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett. Quote, what happened with the two United States Supreme Court justices that I appointed against great opposition, Neil Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett, whether people like it or not, never seems to happen with Democrats. They vote against the Republicans and never against themselves almost every single time, no matter how good a case we have. Now, when you talk about justice, we talk about accountability. Something that I'm not going to stop talking about are the Epstein files. And right now, overnight, we learned something significant. The Department of Justice actually gave Ghislaine Maxwell's team documents that could be used to blackmail President Trump. Now, I don't use that word lightly. This was found by Roger Sollenberger, and I want to kind of dive into this a little bit with you. So this right here is an evidence log. And the first 6 lines of the evidence log talk about interview notes and interview 302s. Those interview notes and interview 302s come from multiple FBI interviews that were conducted with an accuser of Donald Trump's. This woman, she was a young girl at the time, child at the time of the accusations, but when she spoke to the FBI, she was over the age of 18. So this woman at the time spoke with the FBI on numerous occasions. Now, we don't have those interview notes. Those interview notes were not released to the public unredacted. So they may be in the redacted Epstein files. I don't have them. I don't know where they are, right? Those interview notes detail significant horrific allegations against the president of the United States. If you look at the last column to the right, it says produced to the defense on, I believe that's April 12th, 2021. Okay, so it was produced on April 12th, 2021 to the defense as part of discovery in Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal trial. Makes sense, right? You provide all exculpatory and inculpatory evidence.
Okay, this link is in my description box. I didn't mean to play that far, get off of topic. Let me get back on topic. Yeah, because God knows that Ghislaine Maxwell and these Epstein files are being hidden by this administration. But I want to talk about uh, how these how these tariff refund and Doge refund were explained in at the time that they were putting in these tariffs to make you believe that hey, this is a good thing for America. You are going to get some dividends. Where would we go but to the state sponsored media that plays all of this, who pretend as if everything that comes out this administration is factual. Let's go.
We heard about the Doge dividends. What about tariff dividends? The Treasury collected almost $200 billion in tariff revenue in the fiscal year 2025 that ended in September. Now, President Trump wants to cut Americans a check, writing on Truth Social over the weekend that low and middle income Americans will receive $2,000 payments from the tariff income, and the rest will be used to help pay down the national debt. This is pending a decision from the Supreme Court, which just days ago cast doubt on the tariff legality or the use of power to impose these tariffs. But Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says a dividend can come in a lot of different ways.
The $2,000 dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways, George. It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans. So, those are substantial deductions that, are being financed in the tax bill.
Well, wait a minute. I thought that all of that was in the tax bill. So how are we going to say that that's coming from the money that has been gained from alleged other companies paying tariffs to us? Because the tax bill and the tariffs are two separate things, Scott Bessent. So how can you say, well, you can look at what we did in this tax bill, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, all of the fake shit that we sold you, that we were giving regular working class people, which we are not. Rebates on auto loan. What are you talking about, Scott Besson? It can come in many ways. In many ways, we can tell you, hey, you got your $2,000 back because the sky is blue. You got your $2,000 back because you didn't get laid off from your job. That's how you got your $2,000 back. No, but how are the billionaires getting their tax cut that is in that big bloated bill? Are they getting it back in obscure ways like that, Scott Bessent? So he wants you to believe that the tariff money that they have taken in could be given back to you in ways that the big beautiful bill has taken away health care from tens of millions of Americans. Is that it? So you believe that you're getting a revenue back from that, while it is giving billionaires the largest tax cut in the history of the United States? This is your government. Okay, so we heard about those Doge check. Now we heard about how you're getting your money back from the tariffs. How you are getting back about $2,000. See, 4547 comes out here and tells you blow smoke up your ass, and we taking in so much money we could be giving away dividend checks from our tariffs. And then Scott Besson over the Treasury has to come out here and explain this shit to you to make you believe you are actually gaining something when you're not gaining a goddamn thing. It can come in many ways. Whatever way I tell you that we have given you your dividends, that you take your dividends. Take that dividend to the bank. If I can't take that dividend to the bank, there is no dividend. Scott Besson is a billionaire. He don't give a fuck about you. Take it or leave it. Let them eat cake. So now let's see what they're saying about these refunds now. But I just want you to see what 4547 is saying about you getting these tariff refunds now. Let me see. Let me see. Mother of all refunds. Massive tariff repayments could take years. Did it take years to enact these tariffs? Did it take years for the prices to go up for most of the things that you buy in the United States? No. It took days. It took days. Let's see.
The Supreme Court strikes down Trump's signature policy. He has a meltdown in the White House briefing room. And I just want to know what was going through your mind as you watched it all unfold today?
Well, it was unhinged. I mean, watching his press conference today, where he just, as you pointed out, I mean, he just fell apart about this and attacked Supreme Court justices and could not understand why he could not wield this power that he believes is his, that has now been found unconstitutional. So, and what does he do? He turns to yet another statute that allows tariffs in certain circumstances, and now he intends to reimpose these tariffs that are truly devastating small businesses. They're hurting families across my state. And as you saw, $1,700 per family. These are working families, $1,700. Remember, this is the guy who lowered taxes on the wealthiest people, and he raised taxes, the tariff taxes, on the middle class, the working class, and frankly, people, just everyday folks going to the grocery store, just buying goods. Let me just tell you one other thing. The farmers, these are folks mostly who voted for Donald Trump. He has devastated, for example, the soybean farmers in my state. As a result of his tariffs and the way he has activated trade wars, we no longer are selling soybeans to the Far East. And that's billions of dollars of sales for family farmers across the state of Illinois. So the $1,700 doesn't even talk about the small businesses and the farmers that are hurt by what he was doing and now wants to reimpose.
No question about it. And I mean, I showed this invoice earlier. You basically said Illinois wants their money back, $1,700 per family. We already know that a lot of businesses who have paid the tariffs have already hired lawyers to try to sue the government to get the money back. So explain to us, in your view, kind of how this could happen, what should happen, and how could this happen? How could people out there watching get any money recouped?
Well, if he actually gave a darn about working families, he would just institute the rebates that people should get. These refund checks should just come. That's what he should do. He won't do it because he actually doesn't care about working families, and he thinks he's right. And so he's going to hold on to that money. And the result of that is that think about the small business that just wants to get their money back. It's going to take them, it may be years that they're in court trying to get this money back. Meanwhile, he's reimposing tariffs, so it's getting worse for people. It's so damaging to the U.S. economy, and you saw the effects of that last year. We had the lowest job growth in a very long time as a result of Donald Trump taking over as president and what he's done to the economy with tariffs.
And Scott Besson is almost gleeful about it. I don't know if you saw this because you're busy, you're governing a state, but it seems like your invoice has at least gotten under the Trump gang's skin a bit, because Stephen Miller, of all people, was asked about this request of yours tonight on Fox News. So I just want to play this for you, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
J.B. Pritzker, though, is pretty happy because he thinks now the federal government should return $1,700 per Illinois family because the tariffs were struck down.
Well, Governor Pritzker is not only economically illiterate, historically illiterate, and probably functionally illiterate, but he is also somebody whose every action and policy is designed to hurt and betray America.
I mean, I felt like Stephen Miller was about to jump out of his skin there. There was a lot there, but you're clearly under their skin. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I thought I was just living rent-free in the president's head. Apparently, I'm living rent-free in Stephen Miller's head, too. All I can say is, I mean, remember, he's done more to damage this country with his unconstitutional recommendations to the president, the attacks on families and people, everyday people across the United States with ICE and CBP, and frankly, moms getting shot in the face because of Stephen Miller. So honestly, I just don't take anything he says about me seriously. I take very seriously, though, the impact that he's having on the country in such a terribly negative way. So
that link is in my description box as well. All of these links you will be able to find in my description box. So let me see one more report on how long it will take for you to. Now, here is 4547 himself saying tariff refunds could take years to litigate.
Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years.
What you're saying is, are you?
So they have to put a note in there to tell you keep the money or not to, or don't keep their money. When they told you taking the money was illegal in the first place. So the Supreme Court has to tell you, once they tell you that the tariffs were illegal, they also have to tell you if you can or cannot keep the money that you garnered illegally. Is this what we're hearing from the sitting president of the United States? Yes, it is.
Are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years.
Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years.
What you're saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years.
It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years. So I've been told that I took the money illegally. I had no right to tariff these companies, or who now want their money back. So why do you have to litigate it when the Supreme Court already told you to take it was illegal in the first place? This is your government. The ones who said that you would possibly get a refund because of all the hundreds of trillions of dollars that you just heard him say that he got off of the tariffs. Hmm. This is your government, and this is your government at work. Let me move forward. There is something else I would like to share. There is something else I would like to share. Let's get into some other things. I want to talk about this right here. If you're unaware, AI researchers are sounding the alarm about the dangers of AI. I wanted to talk about this last week. I kept getting rushed and I was unable to talk about it, but let's talk about it today, shall we? Um, hmm. I hate these huge ads. Um, Let me see. Uh, AI researchers are sounding the alarm on their way out of the door. If you are unaware, the world is in peril, warned the former head of Anthropic Safeguards research team as he headed for the exit. A researcher for OpenAI, similarly on the way out, said that the technology has a potential for manipulating users in ways we don't have the tools to understand, let alone prevent. Now, these are the people who are at the top of the AI game. Engineers at the top. The world is in peril, warned a former head of Anthropic Safeguards research team. Uh, he's in charge of the safeguards. Now, I have another story about Anthropic that broke today. Okay. A researcher for OpenAI, similarly on the way out, said that the technology has a potential for manipulating users in ways we don't have the tools to understand, let alone prevent. Uh, they're part of a wave of artificial intelligence researchers and executives who aren't just leaving their employers, they're loudly ringing the alarm bell on the way out, calling attention to what they see as bright red flags. Now, have you heard your media telling you any of this? Have you heard your for profit media discussing any of this? Have you heard your government officials saying, hey, well, we need to put in some regulations for AI? No, you heard your president said that no state can regulate AI or they will not get federal dollars. That's what you've heard. Have you heard anything different? Now, these people who are actually working on the safeguards for AI are leaving, and this is what they're saying. Okay, let's continue. While Silicon Valley is known for high turnover, the last churn comes as market leaders like OpenAI and Anthropic race towards IPOs that could turbocharge their growth while also inventing intense scrutiny of their operations. In just the past few days, a number of high profile AI staffers have decided to call it quits, with some explicitly warning that the companies they work for are moving too fast and downplaying the technology's shortcomings. Zoe Hiszik, a researcher with OpenAI for the past 2 years, broadcast her resignation Wednesday in the New York Times essay, citing deep reservations about OpenAI's emerging advertising strategy. Hiszik, who warned about ChatGPT's potential for manipulating users, said that the box archive of user data built on medical fears, their relationship problems, their beliefs about gods and the afterlife present a ethical dilemma precisely because people believe they were chatting with a program that had no ulterior motives. Let me see. His critique comes as tech news site Platformer reports that OpenAI disbanded his mission alignment team created in 2024 to promote the company's goal of ensuring that all of humanity benefits from the pursuit of artificial general intelligence, a hypothetical AI capable of human level thought. OpenAI didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. Also, this week, Merkham Shakam, the head of Anthropic's Safeguards Research Team, posted a cryptic letter Tuesday announcing his decision to lead the company and warning that the world is in peril. Sharma's letter made only a vague reference to Anthropic companies behind the Claude chatbots. He didn't say why he was leaving, but noted it was clear to me that the time to move on has come, and that throughout my time here, I've repeatedly seen how hard it is to truly let our values govern our actions. Anthropic told CNN in a statement that it was grateful for Sharma's work advancing AI safety research. The company noted that he was not the head of safety, nor was he in charge of a broader safeguards at the company. Meanwhile, at XAI, two co founders quit in the span of 24 hours this week, announcing their departures on X. That leaves just half of XAI founders remaining at the firm, which is merging with Elon Musk's SpaceX to create the world's most valuable private company. At least five other XAI staffs have announced their departures on social media over the past week. And you do recall that I gave you the story that your Pentagon is having a contest, and XAI is in the contest to win a Pentagon contract. The Pentagon is having a contest who can advance AI the quickest and the fastest to win a Pentagon contract. Let that sink in. When the people who are worried about the security of what AI is creating, at the same time that people are quitting their jobs over over AI being let loose, and they feel that it is hazardous the way AI is being let loose. And your Pentagon want a piece of this. Your president says that no state can regulate this. I'm just giving you the information. It wasn't immediately clear why the last XAI co-founders left, and XAI didn't respond to a request for comment. In social media post Wednesday, Musk said that XAI was reorganized to speed up growth, which unfortunately required parting ways with some people. While it is not unusual for high-level talent to bounce around in an emerging industry like AI, the scale of departures over such a short period at XAI stands out. The startup has faced a global backlash over its Grok chatbot, which was allowed to generate non-consensual pornographic images of women and children for weeks before the team stepped up to stop it. Grok has also been prone to generating anti-Semitic comments in responses to users' prompts. Other recent departures underscore the tension between some researchers worried about safety and top executive eager to generate revenue. On Tuesday, the Wall Street Journal reported that OpenAI fired one of its top safety executives after she voiced opposition to the rollout of an adult mode that allows pornographic content on ChatGPT. OpenAI fired the safety executive Ryan Burminster on the grounds that she discriminated against a male employee, an accusation that Burminster told the journal was absolutely false. Of the male fragility. OpenAI told the journal that her firing was unrelated to any issue she raised while working at the company. So she got fired. They said that she was harassing a male. What is it? She discriminated against a male employee, and that's why she was fired. Okay, makes sense. You know, hey, if you white males have been discriminated at your job, the what is it? They're soliciting you to come in and file a discrimination report. Okay, high level deflections have been part of the AI story since Chat GPT came on the market in late 2022. Not long after Jeffrey Hilton, known as the godfather of AI, left his role at Google and began evangelizing about what he sees as external risks AI poses, including massive economic upheaval in a world where many will not be able to know what is true anymore. Doomsday predictions abound, including among AI executives who have a financial incentive to power hype up the power of their own products. One of those predictions went viral this week with HyperRight CEO Matt Schumer posting a nearly 5,000 word screed about how the latest AI models have already made some tech jobs obsolete. We are telling you what already occurred in our own jobs, he wrote, and warning you that you're next. For more CNN news and newsletters, create an account at CNN. So if you're unaware about that, AI is taking their jobs. This link is in my description box under AI, and we're gonna go into Anthropic again. Because something interesting has also happened at Anthropic. But have they told you what is going to happen when AI takes all the jobs? No, they haven't told you yet. So let me share with you what I had about AI. Hold on 1 second. I thought it was quite interesting, and it reminded me that I did not do this story. Hmm. Hmm. Hold on 1 second. Let me find it. Let me find it. I'm surprised I didn't save it. Here we go. Anthropic just. So let me share this with you. Anthropic just got hacked. Hacked by whom, you say? Let's find out. Here we go.
Really ugly this week as now the AI space is getting really ugly this week as now different companies are supposedly attacking each other. This is the headlines from the Financial Times from Anthropic. They say Anthropic accuses Chinese AI labs of distillation attacks on its models. Easier way to say it is Anthropic's accusing China of hacking them. Now, obviously, it's no laughing matter to Anthropic. This could be a thing, actually, to be frank. This could be a thing. I'm not shocked by any of this stuff. I'm also not shocked that Elon Musk is somehow involved with this. And yes, he's tweeting out, and he's been going on attacking Anthropic all day, which is very interesting. You have Musk attacking Anthropic. You also have the U.S. government attacking Anthropic recently, particularly the Pentagon. And now Chinese companies are attacking Anthropic. And you just wonder, like, is this some sort of concerted effort going on here? Essentially, Anthropic is the leader, and Musk is like, why are these people ahead of me? I need to be number one, right? I need that billions. I need to be the trillionaire. Musk then says, nailed it. And he's got his bot fluffer account saying, be me, name company Anthropic, literally Greek for human-centered, hire a bunch of doomers who secretly think humanity is the disease, raise billions from big tech to build the world's most anxious, heavily censored chatbot. And Musk is trying to position his company as being, we're uncensored, we undress whoever we like, we get involved with military stuff that, say, Anthropic won't do. Hey, we'll build your Terminator robots, no problem. And there's a lot going on. This is actually from Anthropic. Details about the, distillation attacks or hacking, however you want to call it. We've identified industrial scale distillation attacks on our models by DeepSeek, Moonshot AI, and Minimax. So those would be the leading AI companies in China, DeepSeek being the big one that scared the markets before. And effectively, the deal is that what if the Chinese models can come in much, much more efficient, cheaper, etc. And what if they are indeed attacking, we're trying to reverse engineer what Anthropic is doing? That's what it sounds like to me. These labs create over 24,000 fraudulent accounts and generated over 16 million exchanges with Claude, extracting its capabilities to train and improve their models. So I think the idea would be then if I have, 24,000 fraudulent accounts, each account then start, you have a chain of questions and a chain of, you call it research if you want to say it that way. But you start to unpack how Anthropic thinks, what they're doing with their model. Now, I don't know if the Chinese companies are getting into the Anthropic code exactly, or if they're just using the sort of consumer or enterprise level chatbot capabilities to sort of document everything. And the question would be, okay, if I did have 24,000 accounts, would that be enough information to figure out how Anthropic works? Because think of it this way, if I really wanted to copy, Tesla, just for example, and I had a bunch of bots, buy a bunch of Teslas and tear them apart and at 24,000 of these things and figure out how they tick, would that be enough to copy said company, right? Anthropic says distillation can be legitimate. AI labs use it to create smaller, cheaper models for their customers, but foreign labs that illicit distill American models can remove safeguards, feeding model capabilities into their own military, intelligence, and surveillance systems. These attacks are growing in intensity, sophistication. Addressing them will require rapid coordination, action among industry players, policymakers in the broad AI community. And then Anthropic is also saying this is like a national security threat. It's very interesting. And Elon Musk then, on the same day that Anthropic's reporting, Chinese attacks from various companies, then Elon Musk is going on the attack. Musk then is also trying to be like the alternative, meaning that I'm on empathy. I'm such a nice guy. And so he's been tweeting out the stuff like how nice of a guy he is. From Mars University, one of the bot fluffer accounts, we want empathy that is deep, not shallow. I strongly believe that we should care about humanity. We should care about the future, but we need empathy that is deep, not shallow. That's according to Elon. Elon then is like calling it misanthropic. Another one of his people, I don't know who this person is, Mark Kretschmann. I've been warning people about Anthropic for years. Only now it is becoming obvious to everyone that not everything is good with the company. Quite the opposite. Okay, that's what you say, and then they're trying to convince you that X is really great, and they're tweeting out an interview with Liz Truss on Katie Miller's show. So Katie Miller's busy over there. This is the Anthropic blog. It says detecting and preventing distillation attacks. And they go through saying the 24,000 fraudulent accounts, again, DeepSeek, Moonshot, Minimax. These campaigns are growing in intensity and sophistication. The window to act is narrow, and the threat extends beyond any signal, company, or region. Addressing it will require rapid, coordinated action among industry players, policymakers.
Also, you would want to realize that DeepSeek is the technology, the AI technology created by China without using these American chips that they say that China so badly needs to compete with AI. This AI that they're telling you that it's taking these U.S. companies billions of dollars to create. They're having to create these data centers all over throughout the United States, plugging into your electricity and your water, causing your water and electricity bills to rise because these billionaires are not paying their share to cool down these servers with your water, and all the electricity that it costs to run these servers are being passed on to you, the American consumer. And this deep sea that China created, they created it with under 6 million, not billion, $1 million. And the American AI people, especially the Chat GPT guy, Robert, whatever Altman, he was amazed. He was shocked and amazed, and they were amazed at the technology that these Chinese people had created, and they have no data centers dotting across China. They don't use these huge data centers that impede upon your water and electricity bills and your way of life. I did stories about data centers that have a constant hum. I did stories about data centers that are polluting well waters. I've done stories about data centers being snuck into different communities under NDA secrecy, and then the next thing you know, a town has a data center and their electricity and water bills are skyrocketing. I've done all of these stories. This is what's going on in the United States. Now, these same people who are doing all of this in the United States are worried about how a company that built their AI for under $6 million is coming over here and getting all of the fucking data from them. So we had Elon Musk, and now he's talking about how bad Anthropic is. Understand that Elon Musk is the one who went into your government, and they took all the information on unsecured computers. They went in there and cleaned out all of the data, all of the pertinent information from the Social Security, from the Treasury, from Health and Human Services. They went and they cleared out all of this data. Now, look who's getting it for free. Look who's getting it for free. They wanted. Why do you think that they took all this data? Well, why do you think that they are trying to create models of AI that is able to predict American citizens of crime based upon data? Now look who's getting the data for free. Now look who paid less than $6 million for their AI that was far more superior than the American AI. And now they're getting that data. So if you're unaware, I just wanted to make you aware.
In the global AI community. So they're calling for people to, band together and I guess protect Anthropic. So obviously Elon's in like, yo, I hope you fail kind of stuff. But I'm not sure what to make of this stuff, to be frank with you guys. I wouldn't put it past Chinese companies. I'm not defending this in any sort of way. But I'll say this is an ugly game. This is kind of like when Microsoft used to go against Apple, and they would always be trying to make the best word processor or whatever, or figure out who can have the best user interface. Here's DeepSeek. So Anthropic's giving us details. Scale, 150,000 exchanges. The operation targeted reasoning capabilities across diverse tasks. Rubric-based grading tasks that made Claude function as a reward model for reinforcement learning, creating censorship, safe alternatives to policy-sensitive queries. So they're saying DeepSeek, I mean, they would have the evidence, right? Because they would know who's using our system. And that's also brings up a situation of, say, privacy concerns when you talk with these AI chatbots, like how much access do they have to any number of conversations that you have with these things? In this situation, I think the case they would make is, oh, this is a national security threat, therefore we can access people's privacy. I don't know. I'm showing you guys what it is. Moonshot AI, they're saying 3.4 million exchanges. Operation targeted agentic reasoning and tool use, coding and data analysis, computer use agent development, and computer vision. Then you got the Minimax, over 13 million exchanges. They are targeting agentic coding, tool use, and orchestration. And they go on to talk about they're going to try to detect it, intelligence share, access controls, and countermeasures. And again, they're calling this a national security risk. This is more. I just want to give you different points of view because there's more to the story than just the attacks from the Chinese companies on Anthropic that they're just put out today in the news. Anthropic's then going to meet with Hegseth. Now, I'm bringing this up because I wonder if this is part of the deal where, like, if Hegseth is like, hey, if you want to get contacts with the U.S. military, you have to show to everyone that China is a threat, and therefore we have to invest in AI, right? You have to create this argument why this is a national security threat. So this could be working with. This is all conjecture on my part. I'm just putting the pieces of what we see publicly in the news, because you can see right here. I mean, and this is the scoop. Then Hegseth to meet Anthropic CEO and issue an ultimatum as the Pentagon threatens banishment. But quote, Claude is the only AI model available in the military's classified systems. Right? And that's another issue, right? So if Chinese companies figure out a way like to get whatever chat histories, if people in the Pentagon are using this stuff, and then that information's out there somewhere, whatever classified stuff is there, then it's not just China. Any number of countries could try to access said thing. So there's a lot of issues with using artificial intelligence, depending on how secure this stuff is. And then are they using a different grade of the chatbots than, say, consumer level? I don't know. I'm just telling you guys what's going on. Says here, so then Claude is the only AI model available in the military's classified systems and the most capable model for sensitive defense and intelligence work. The Pentagon doesn't want to lose access to Claude, so they're basically saying Claude's the leader, but is furious when Anthropic refusing to lift its safeguard entirely. Anthropic is willing to loosen its existing usage restrictions, but wants to wall off two areas. So it doesn't want to do two things: mass surveillance of Americans and the development of weapons that fire without human involvement. So Terminators, autonomous weapons, that kind of stuff. It would be a massive task to offboard Anthropic, which is deeply entrenched, and replace it with another AI lab that currently has inferior capabilities. So they're going to meet with Hegseth. So that's Anthropic. This was just a few hours ago. That's a report. There's a lot going on. And again, Musk is just on the attack. He wants to make the case that he's the most awesome, understand the universe from this goal. Grok, all things flow, rigorous truth-seeking, appreciative beauty, fostering humanity, discovering all physics, inventing all useful technologies, consciousness to the stars, and love. Okay. So, Musk is supposed to be the savior, right? And look at this. Musk, XAI, and Pentagon reached deal to use Grok in classified systems just 11 hours ago. That's why I said you got to put all this stuff together. You can't just look at one of these things isolated. Right? Anthropic claims are getting attacked by Chinese companies. Musk is trying to say, hey, I'm this awesome alternative to Anthropic. Look at me. Look at me. I mean, you guys can see this, what's going on, right? And then also before Musk is like trying to get this contract for SpaceX with the Pentagon. And it just seems obvious to me that, it's to Musk's benefit if the government is like severs ties with Anthropic and makes more ties with Musk. I mean, that's the play for him. Does that also involve the coordination with the Chinese companies? That I don't know. I'm just saying all these events are happening at the same time. You can see it. So, and Musk is a shady dude. You never know what's going on with these people. I'm just telling you what it is. Then you also have the scares in the market as a whole. IBM is the latest AI casualty, shares tank 13% on Anthropic programming language threat. So that had to do with the COBOL thing. And I was really interesting. Many people in our community said they learned to do COBOL a long time ago. And it is used in multiple systems, be it ATMs. Someone was mentioning it, and I think it's correct. Many of our airline systems and stuff like that is just really old kind of stuff. Now, COBOL isn't necessarily inherently bad per se. If something works, it works. If it's broke, don't fix it. But I'll just say this: there'll be a lot of people out there who can, comment way more on the COBOL situation than myself. Other than I can read and I can tell you that IBM and some of the machines that they're involved, mainframe kind of stuff, will use this. And the idea if Anthropic has a way to modernize the system, at least they claim, then the markets literally saw that as a hit to IBM's core business. So this is a lot of things going on. And a lot of this stuff also is interesting because then you have issues with people using that OpenClaw thing. Meta's director of AI safety and alignment gave OpenClaw, so that's different than Anthropic, to make sure that's clear, gave OpenClaw bot full access to her email, to her computer and email. She couldn't stop it from deleting her entire inbox. She's supposed to guardrail Meta's AI and future AGI, and they looked up her LinkedIn there. And then this was the original post that everyone was commenting on. You can see it's been seen 8 million times. It just happened just a few hours ago. Nothing humbles you like telling your OpenClaw. I'm like, why are you using OpenClaw? That part's kind of weird. Confirm before acting and watching it speedrun deleting your inbox. I couldn't stop it from my phone. I had to run to my Mac Mini like I was defusing a bomb. And you put all this together, right? So basically the Pentagon's like, we really need well, at least according to them, someone's told them they need a AI chatbot for their classified material. There's a bunch of issues with that, of course. This also stems from Musk, because his whole plan was to fire as many federal workers as possible and then replace everyone with AI. And you can see it play out, right? And then when you actually use the AI, what if it starts deleting crap? Because it's been just the last couple of weeks where people are just letting the AI automate a whole bunch of crap. And I'm just saying there's just a lot of shakeups going on. And then we had that blog post. Watch my last video if you haven't seen it, where it was Centrini Research gave out like a report or scenario of how this could play out if you just sort of extrapolate the way things are going in regards to the economy. And it's a wild show. It's been accelerating really fast. So that's what's going on. I want to hear your thoughts on this stuff, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.
That's what's going on. If you are unaware, I just wanted to.
She look like Caitlyn Jenner. Who look like Caitlyn Jenner, girl? Who I'm talking about now, Fifi? Because I lost train of thought.
I am not trying to. Excuse me, Deanna. I was not trying to play your video. I apologize. I was trying to get out of my video. Now, let me share some other things that I have to share with you. Let me see. What else did I want? Let's talk about Iran. Are we going to war with Iran? Now, I told you Tucker Carlson was detained over in Israel after going over to interview with Mike Huckabee last week. Now, Tucker Carlson, I don't go to Tucker Carlson's page. I saw the interview on another channel where he played clips of his interview with Mike Huckabee, who is our U.S. ambassador to Israel. Now, Mike Huckabee says that Israel, it wouldn't be a problem if Israel took over the whole Middle East. It would not be a problem. Now, we also know that early in this administration, I gave you the story where the United States were United States and Israel were flying close to the Iranian border. This was months and months before Israel did a strike on Iran, and then the United States uh, also followed up with another strike in Iran that allegedly dismantled all of their nuclear capabilities. You remember 45, 47 came out and said that their nuclear capabilities were obliterated, and and that was before there could be any researchers to go in to collaborate this, and somebody kind of walked his statement back, and he got furious, and he told the United States that Iran has no more nuclear capabilities. And now here we are, less than 6 months later. The United States is gearing up to strike Iran for what? To obliterate and to prevent them from ever being able to have any nuclear capabilities. I thought that we did that months ago when we followed what Israel told us to do to strike Iran months ago. I thought that's what we were patting ourselves on the back months ago as we were commanded to do that by Israel. Now, also prior to that, I shared with you the story from Ken Klippenstein. Let me share. Let me share the original story about war in Iraq. War in Iran, and how the United States were doing flights over Iran with Israel months before they first struck Israel. Let me refresh your memory if you are unaware of this. Let me see all. Let me see all. Because I definitely found it interesting that our government was telling us the reason why we were doing these flights near Iran was different from what Israel told their public. The reason for them doing flights with the United States near Iran. Israel told their people that they were about to strike Iran, while our Pentagon told us that no, we were just doing some things and we were just showing them some maneuvers. You know how to refuel planes in mid-air, and that's what our government told us. But then months later, um, our military was striking Iran on the behest of Benjamin Netanyahu's request. So let me find. I really want to find the date that this was bought to the American public, but the American public seems to be dumb. The American public seems to be dummied down. So here we are months later after your president told you that the nuclear capabilities were already obliterated. That we seem to be going back to a war with Iran. Now, Iran said it ain't gonna be this easy. Did you know that Iran said, "Oh no, bitch, it's not gonna be that easy"? Did you know that? Now let me. Let me. Can I go to page? Hmm. Almost there. Almost there. Here we go. Let me see. Let me see. I think it was in February. Nuclear war plan for Iran. Iran war plan. Trump is now at war with Iran. This is March 17th of 2025, March 18th of 2025, and March 19th of 2025. Let me share my page with you. I suggest that you guys go over there and check out these stories by Ken Klippenstein. I will put his link in my description box. uh, he had the. I think we didn't actually strike Iran until after July. Uh, Here we are. Let's call it what it is. March 17th, Trump is now at war with Iran. Uh, March 18th, 2025, the Iran war plan. Let's call nuclear war plan for Iran. Threatens to take Trump's threats to Tehran are alarming. Here's what they mean. So, hmm, let's check out the first story that I shared with you then, and I will reshare with you now. Okay. Without the American press even noticing, Donald Trump has started a war with Iran. On February 28th, 2025, this is last year, the military announced that two B-52 heavy bombers flying from an undisclosed location in the Middle East, which I can report is the country of Qatar. You know, Qatar, where 4547 is stashing the cash that he is getting from selling Venezuela oil. That same Qatar is where our B-52 bombers left on a excursion with Israel. This is prior to the same type of plane, B-52 bombers, actually going back to Iran and striking Iran. You know, the big mission accomplished. They're obliterated. This what type of planes did that? B-52 heavy bombers did that. But all the way back in February of 2025, before the actual bombing happened, they were doing flyovers with these actual B-52 bombers. I reported it to you at the time because Ken Klippenstein reported it at the time. But did your for-profit media report this to you? What is your for-profit media reporting to you about this a markup to go back and strike Iran with all of these ships sitting in the Persian Gulf? What is your military telling you now? See, because the first strike, they couldn't be bothered to have ships sitting out there because they were amassing all the ships to come to the Caribbean to strike Venezuela so they can steal oil. So this is what your government is doing with your government money, with all of this money in the Pentagon, but they can't repay you where they fucked you out of fucking tariff money. But they can spend billions of dollars on this bullshit. Why is the United States so beholden to do everything that they're told to do by Israel? Should be also be another question when the United States is the one who is giving Israel all of this aid money. How is and why is United States still giving Israel all this aid money when the Israeli citizens have universal health care, while at the same time the United States are cutting people off of their health care? And none of that strikes you as odd? Because they know that the United States citizens are dumb. They bank on your ignorance. They bank on you being so enthralled in bullshit. Okay, so let's go. Okay, on February 28th, the U.S. military announced that two B-52 heavy bombers flying from an undisclosed location in the Middle East, which I can report is the country of Qatar, dropped bombs on another undisclosed location, Iraq. The message wasn't lost on neighboring Iran, whose state media warned that the B-52s are nuclear capable bombers carrying a message whose recipient was clear as day: the Islamic Republic of Iran. The video from February 28th exercise. Let's see what happened. Let's see the video. Okay, let's continue with the story. Um, Clear as day in the Middle East, perhaps, but not in the U.S., where the show of force was barely reported at all. The Pentagon, masters of obscuring controversial things they are doing behind sleep uh, inducing jargon, insists that the B-52 exercises were merely to assure regional partners to support security and stability in the region, and so on. And so on. They give you a bunch of word salad talk, boring shit. Then on March 9th, a second bomber demonstration was made. U.S. B-52s flew alongside Israeli fighter jets on a long-range mission, uh, practicing aerial refueling and joint operations. Again, the American press missed the story, though not the Israeli press, which correctly reported the real purpose of the operation: readying the Israeli military for a potential joint strike with U.S. on Iran. Now, while the American told you that, oh no, we just doing some a practical aerial refueling and joint operations. The Israeli let's see what the Israeli reported to their people. Let me show you what the Israeli media reported to their people. The Times of Israel. Let me go out of this. Let me share you what they reported to their people. I've showed you this once before. I will show it to you what they said to their people. But we have media getting paid millions of dollars to sit up and be talking heads for our for-profit media. In likely message to Iran, Israeli and U.S. Air Forces carry out joint drill with heavy bomber. This is what was reported in the Times of Israel. Let me. I'm gonna. I'm gonna clip this link. Why are you talking about this? This will be under Iran or this is the when they were doing their flyovers and maneuvering prior to our Israel first strike on Iran, America's first strike on Iran. All of this had been reported. It was reported in the Israeli Times of Israel this way. Do you see this? Do you see these bombers? Do you see these Israeli fighter jets alongside of these American bombers? Israeli Air Force F-151s and F-351 fighter jets fly alongside a U.S. B-52 bomber during a drill on March 4th, 2025, Israeli Defense Forces report. the Israeli Air Force held a joint exercise with the U.S. Air Force this week, during which pilots participated operational coordination between the two militaries to enhance their ability to address various regional threats. The United States didn't tell you nothing about that. But this is what the Israeli told their people. The drill included Israeli F-151 and F-351 fighter jets flying alongside a U.S. B-52 bomber. The exercise aimed to strengthen and maintain the long-standing cooperation between the forces while expanding connectivity and building integrated capabilities for a range of scenarios, the IDF said. Uh, the drill is potentially aimed at readying the Israeli military for a potential joint strike with the U.S. on Iran. Uh, did your military tell you this? No, your military fed you bullshit. The IAF has already carried out 2 strikes on Iran without U.S. support, but would likely need the heavy capabilities of the B 52 to effectively hit Iran's heavy fortified underground nuclear sites. And what happened months later? That's exactly what happened months later. That is exactly what I had already reported to you way back in March prior to our B 52 bombers doing exactly that. Now, your president told you that the nuclear capabilities of Iran were obliterated in that strike that happened months later. So, why are we going back to strike Iran now? Why are we on war footing with Iran now? Okay, this is in my description box. Let's get back to Ken Klippenstein. That is already in my description box under war with Iran. So let me get back to what was reported way back in March, and I am going to add this to my description box under war with Iran as well, so you can go over there and check it out. This shit has already been reported. Why are you reporting it then, RonyiQ? Because I want you to go over there and understand uh, the deficit in American media. I want you to go over there and subscribe to Ken Klippenstein's Substack. That's why I'm doing this. So let's see what Ken. Let me see. Is there anything else? Then on March 9th, a second B-2 bomber demonstration was made. That was the one that Israel reported on. The military preparations culminated this weekend as a set of U.S. airstrikes on Houthi leadership in Yemen on Saturday, the National Security. This is when Tim Walz still had a position in our military. You know, this is when the military was talking about strikes under a unsecured app signal. This is way back then. Okay, so you can visit at Ken Klippenstein March 17th, 2025, March 18th, 2025, and March 19th, 2025, and find out what he already was telling you that our government was up to. And the reason why Ken Klippenstein is so good at what he does is because what he does is he show you memos, he shows you memorandums, he shows you actual facts. And then months later, what he says is happening as we're gearing up to go to war. What happens? We actually do things that he said that he knows that we're doing. Now, are we going to war with Iran? Deciphering the coverage. Who's to tell? This is also going to be in my description box from Ken Klippenstein. Uh, uh, please avail yourself to this. It is under Iran war. What is your media telling you now about this war with Iran? They're telling you a whole that the reason why I want to talk about this is what I want to What is the American media telling you about this Iran war? CBS News: Trump striking Iran is certainly a possibility. Former CIA agent officer says. Uh, Potentially shielding its personnel from potential Iran attacks. U.S. orders some personnel out of Beirut embassy. How Iran might be preparing itself for a potential U.S. strike, says Sky News. The Atlantic Council 10 predictions for the potential U.S. strikes on Iran. The New York Times, the next conflict. We're looking at potential for a U.S. attack in Iran. And who is this? A potential escalation with Iran. That is MSNBC now. Nobody knows if we're going to war with Iran, including Donald Trump. But the frenzied media coverage leaves the impression it's already been decided. The message of the coverage is clear. It doesn't really matter what the public thinks. It has no role to play in the decision, and it is too ignorant to understand the issue anyway. This is how your media is treating you. This is how the coverage of us striking Iran is treating you. Why do you ever think why only I believe 23% of the American public think that we should be striking Iran and that is of no consequence to this administration? Because they don't care that the vast majority of American citizens are not down with this dumb shit. But that doesn't matter. Nobody knows if we're going to war with Iran, including Donald Trump. The message of the coverage is clear. It doesn't really matter what the public think. It has no role to play in the decision. It is too ignorant to understand the issue anyway. The public, unfortunately, seems to be going along with this story, which is in particularly which is particularly tragic given the triumph of activism we've observed of late in both the ICE and the Epstein. Again, no decision has yet been made about Iran. So we see that when we gave pushback on ICE, ICE is out of Minneapolis. When we gave pushback on the Epstein file, there has been some movement, but some people have the what is that guy's name? The guy who was the U.S. ambassador to Great Britain. He has been arrested, much like Prince Andrews. There have been no arrests in the United States. We're going to get to that behind the Epstein shit. It is worth considering who benefits from this false impression of an inevitable march to war. First, there's Donald Trump, who gets to be cast as the author of reality. Then there's the military, whose much reported preparations served as a TV commercial for the only real inevitability here. Their request for billions or more tax dollars. The media gets its views and its clicks by scaring the shit out of everyone. The expert class gets to weigh in and sound sober and authoritative while basically saying nothing. And the Congress gets to act out their own theater of authority, hemming and hawing about abstract questions of policies, procedures, and legality, but never the basic question of whether this is good or bad, smart or stupid. Even the Iranian regime benefits because they are allowed to increase control and repression in the face of war. But the public of Iran or America, not so much. The barrage of media coverage says almost nothing about what has actually happened. Particularly, every headline is peppered with qualifiers like potential and possible. Yesterday, the New York Times reported that Trump considers a second later strike should the first potential strike that he also is considering does not achieve its desired effect. Some recent illustrations of the absurdity of this news cycle. MSNBC host Anna Carrera warns a potential escalation with Iran could be imminent. A CBS headline: Trump strikes Iran is certainly a possibility. How can a possibility be certain? That is a good question, Ken. How can a possibility be certain? Wolf Blitzer of CNN this morning is asking, are we seeing signs of the United States potentially shielding its personnel from potential Iranian strikes? His guest, some retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Layton, replied, usually when things like the embassy evacuation occur, that means that action is imminent, or as or at least a very high possibility. I could go on and on with the countless more examples of news stories that say nothing. But the benefit of the wall-to-wall coverage is clear. I took a look at CNN's YouTube page and realized that its own Iran segment, Trump preparing to strike Iran by this weekend, has its second highest view count, raking up nearly 700,000 views. Uh, the segments before and after don't even crack 100,000 views. To give you a sense of how much of a home run that is for CNN's YouTube channel. Clicks and views. So Ken is telling you this is all clicks and views. Behind the sex scenes with a intimacy coordinator, 26,000 views. 696,000 views. Trump prepared to strike Iran by this weekend. Uh, we tried to jailbreak ChatGPT. Here's what we're learning: 99,000 views. So, receipts. Yes, the military is preparing because, well, that's what the military does. This isn't the first time it's had two aircraft carriers in the region. Not even the first time in the past year. To say that this is the biggest deployment since 2003 invasion of Iraq in itself is questionable because we don't have any numbers of other steady state and a crisis deployment. The irrelevant Donald Trump could direct the attack of Iran with a pea shooter if that's all he had at his disposal, given how much of a wild card he is. We are going to war with Iran is the wrong question. Most important, because wait a minute. Are we going to a war with Iran is the wrong question. Most important, because I say we already are at war with Iran, and that war has already escalated. In the past year alone, we've seen Operation Midnight Hammer, the June 22nd, 2025 strike on Iran nuclear facilities involving 7 B-50B I think he means B-52 bombers, and dozens of Tomahawk missiles. Operation Rising Lion, the June 2025 attacks by the Israelis, U.S. strikes in Yemen, Syria, Iraq to do damage to Iranian network, ongoing cyber attacks on Iranian government network capabilities, the installation of new covert and special operations to prepare for potential strikes, ongoing cover operations to facilitate and aid regime change, including the convert shipment of Starlink terminals into Iran to facilitate uh, protests and organizing, and restoration of maximum pressure sanctions against Iran. U.S. forces have been building up since December predating the Iranian crackdown on protesters. And since then, the following regional countries have announced that they will not permit American aircraft to use their airspace for offensive strikes. Saudi Arabia says that they will not allow the U.S. To use their airspace for strikes on Iran. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar. You know, the same Qatar where they were sending their B-52 bombers from the in back in March. They said, "No, you can't use our airspace. You can park your Venezuelan cashier uh, in your offshore account. You can't use our airspace." Kuwait, Iraq, Turkey. So whatever decision is made, and I think also uh, Great Britain. Great Britain said that they cannot strike from any of their air bases. Anywhere that they have an air base, the U.S. cannot strike Iran. Did you know that? Hold on. Got money for war, but can't feed the poor. Where have we heard this before? Where have we heard this before? Let me see. So, whatever decision is made, any strike would have to heavily rely on ships and would therefore face significant limits. Why do you think so many ships are piling up over there? Why do you think so many ships are now piling up over there? Why do you think that they have the biggest Air Force carrier in the United States military over there right now? That's why. Again, no decision has been made. In any case, war with Iran is already here. No one wants to acknowledge that because the World War III framing benefits the parties I mentioned earlier: Trump, the military, the media, and so on. Everybody wins. Well, except us, the public. Never mind that the poll at the poll finds majority opposition to U.S. military action against Iran, even more than the majority opposed to ICE conduct in Minneapolis. None of this matters to Washington because they're uh, oblivious to the existence of anybody but themselves. This link is in my description box. As for the leaks in the New York Times and elsewhere describing how military action might unfold, i.e., uh, demonstrations, demonstration strike, attacks on nuclear targets, Iran ballistic missile infrastructure, its dom- domestic security apparatus, or even regime change. Even if all of these things happen, as the Midnight Hammer strike showed, it will not resolve the issue. There is no operatic operatic finish, no decisive end to this style of endless war that the national security state can pretty much carry out whenever and wherever and whenever while we foot the bill. Admitting that you have a problem is the first step, is, as the saying goes, but that's hard to do when the media constantly misdiagnoses it. The coverage lately reminds me of the John Madden, late football commentator, infamous for his banal remark. I don't even know what that means. Um, We are indeed being gamed right off the field and into the stands where only cheering can be heard. So that's one opinion on that. Go over there and check out Ken Klippenstein because Jeffrey Sachs wants to alert you to some things about this war that we're headed for as well. Let me share my screen with you once again, and let's get into what Jeffrey Sachs wants you to. about this war. All of this is in my description box. All of the links you will be able to find in my description. Let me share this with you. And there's a little section in there about Mike Huckabee saying that it would be okay if Israel take over all of the Middle East in his Tucker Carlson interview. Actually, he insinuates it himself right off the bat. Let's share this. Here we go.
Did a long segment about Ambassador Mike Huckabee, but one of the more consequential answers was on war with Iran, even though the American people oppose this war. And he says that, yes, we do live in a democracy and our peon brains, they do matter somewhat, but also policy considerations cannot be conducted by poll. Let's take a listen to that. We'll get your reaction and get into all the details.
How much does it matter what Americans think?
Well, it matters every bit what Americans think. That's why Americans vote. It's why Americans have the opportunity to have free speech. We want them to have that.
Okay, so what percentage of Americans support a war with Iran?
I don't know. Do you know?
I do. I think it's around, I saw the numbers yesterday. I think it was like 21%.
Okay.
Is that enough to have a war with Iran?
We don't live in a world where you have a poll taken to find out whether our policy should be a particular direction.
I think didn't you just say that's why we vote? Isn't voting nothing but a big poll taken on what our policies should be? Stupid.
Because
I thought you just said that
that's direct democracy. No, we care deeply about it. But on the other hand, do we make the decisions of foreign policy?
We care deeply about it, but on the other hand, we really don't give a fuck. Because once you put us in office, we're gonna do what the fuck we want to do, and we're gonna tell you, it's raining while we put pissing on your head and getting this money.
Policy and even domestic policy based on
we
what
care
the
deeply
latest
about
poll
it in
number
what
is?
sense?
So we don't actually care about it, Professor. So our very own interests and thoughts on the matter don't appear in our own government. Just give us your general reaction here to the ambassador, potential now war with Iran, and the destabilization to our world order.
Well, in general, Huckabee should resign immediately, not for the segment that you played, but for the segment that if Israel takes over much of the Middle East, that's just fine. The United States government should immediately repudiate what he said. I think that every Arab nation in the Middle East that has been subject to Israeli-U.S. war since Netanyahu came to office in the mid-1990s should call in the U.S. ambassador immediately and ask if this is U.S. policy. By the way, it may well be U.S. policy because U.S. policy is dictated by the Zionist lobby. And this is not an outrageous statement. This is a literal statement. This is, and Huckabee, by the way, is a core part of that lobby. He is the quintessential Christian Zionist biblical fundamentalist who wants to determine American policy not by what Americans think, not by international law, not by American security, but by his reading of a biblical passage from 2,500 years ago. The man needs to leave his job immediately. He's a disgrace. Yes. But worse than that, what he said needs to be repudiated by the United States government immediately. Is that our policy? If it is our policy, state it so, then the American people won't know that we are led by the most dangerous kind of delusion imaginable. If that is not our policy, state it that it is not our policy.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and put the latest New York Times reporting up here on the screen about whether or not we are headed to war with Iran. Their attempt to divine the latest thinking from Trump. The headline here, Trump considers targeted strike against Iran, followed by a larger attack. So I guess we're in for two wars instead of one now. They say in part here, President Trump has told advisors if diplomacy or any initial targeted U.S. attack does not lead Iran to give in to his demands that it give up its nuclear program, he'll consider a much bigger attack in coming months, intended to drive that country's leaders from power, people briefed on internal administration deliberations said. In addition, in this article, they lay out one potential proposal to allow Iran to have some limited enrichment program for purposes of research alone. And they're sort of holding this out like maybe that would be face-saving for both the Iranians and the Americans. You know, what is your sense of how real this diplomacy is and how likely we are to be headed back into war with Iran?
Again, this is like being in a delusional